You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News. Let's go back to Guy, Ben, and Frank.
Well, welcome back to Inside the News. This is our Picking Up the Pieces segment, and this is where we kind of go back and see what we have not talked about or things that have come up in the program. Frank Vernuccio, he's in the top left, Ben Brunson in the bottom middle. Welcome back, Frank.
Great to be with you and with our audience.
All right. He had to go grab another cup of coffee during that commercial break, and we're glad that you did as well and to rejoin us. Okay, Ben, we are back. The Durham report. I don't think it's ever going to see the light of day. I think it's going to be, I just don't think it's ever going to show up.
Well, very interesting development that has not received a lot of press is that John Durham has resigned as a U.S. attorney and retained his position as special counsel for this investigation that was launched under Donald Trump into the entire Russia hoax. So I have no idea what that means, whether that is just an interim step to quietly resign in the near future and lead to an official, abandonment of the entire investigation, or if that means he's going to get serious and actually start prosecuting some of the wrongdoing that occurred under the Trump administration and targeted at Donald Trump and his presidency. I honestly, I couldn't tell you. It's a great mystery how this has been silent for so long. It was 2 years ago in the spring when we first expected the report to be issued by Mr. Durham. And then that got delayed. And then we started hearing, well, there never will be a report. There's just going to be prosecutions. And we'll hear about it. Now, they did successfully prosecute the one attorney in the FBI who clearly fabricated evidence and pled guilty to that. He admitted what he did. But boy, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just a small, that's like the FBI prosecuting a street thug in the mafia as opposed to going after the mafia leadership. There was a lot of wrongdoing and led by people like John Brennan and Comey and Rod Rosenstein, much to be held to account for. And I don't know. I hope and pray that justice happens in this. But I'll tell you, every day that goes by, I am losing what little faith I have left.
Frank, these guys like Durham, they are also thinking about life after the investigation. So if he left the attorney's office, and it's just going to be special counsel, he's got to be thinking about the end game. What happens afterwards? I think he saw the handwriting on the wall that you don't mess with these top guys because the Democrats, they own the machinery underneath, Frank.
Well, I joined Ben in being perplexed at how this has played out. As far back as last August, the end of last August, I had sources in the FBI and in DOJ who assured me that the Durham report was on the verge of coming out, that it would come out no later than the end of September. It was completely roadblocked. The insidiousness of this is clear, and it goes beyond this one issue, beyond Russian collusion. The fact is, the American people recognize the fact that if you are on the left and a powerful Democrat, you simply are above the law. It doesn't take a law degree to recognize what Hillary Clinton did, for example, in destroying evidence. Should have resulted in an indictment and a conviction. It did neither. There is a real power in Washington that protects those on the left who break the law. That is the central issue. And I think when you look at the discussion about why America seems so far apart, the central concept in America is that we are all equal under the law. That concept has been destroyed by powerful Democrats over the past 2 decades. It continues now, and it is getting worse.
All right, kind of a long question for a quick answer because we're running out of time here, Ben. But Hillary Clinton, when her husband was president, they were smart enough to start putting things into place. The Teflon Don, you heard about that with the mafia and all. And they knew that if they put people in place down deep underneath, it kind of protected them long term. We saw it play out during Trump.
If any one couple destroyed this country, it is the Clintons, because their graft is so obvious to everyone. They've gotten filthy rich, effectively billionaires, by selling their influence. And it's so obvious to everyone that everyone else in Washington says, well, if they can do it, I want to do it too. So we've gone from petty graft that existed prior to the Clintons to open theft, a la the Russian oligarchs. And that's the reality. And the lack of anyone ever being held to account for this type of thievery is the problem that we have right now as a country. Trump tried to tackle it. He failed.
All right, we're going to take our final time out, put a bow on the program. This is Inside the News. We'll be back.
Getting to the heart of the matter, here's Guy Wehman, Ben Brunson, and Frank Vernuccio with more Inside the News.
Welcome back to our final segment of the program of Inside the News. This is where we put a bow on the program. This is program number 299. We are one away from 300, and we are well in our 6th year of broadcasting, starting some 6 years ago. And the three of us, we've enjoyed every minute and every show of this. And we're going to start with Frank, but Ben, it's been a fun ride, hasn't it?
It goes by fast. It's been interesting times from the Obama administration through Trump and now back to Obama too, but dumber.
Yeah. This is longer than some marriages last, Frank.
It has, but you have to wonder whether those like us who are doing this type of broadcasting are endangered as the attack on free speech continues. As the censorship from Facebook and Twitter and Google and all that continue, we are becoming an endangered species. And I thank our audience for sticking with us. Stay with us. We will have the courage to say what needs to be said, despite the threats that we are facing from government censors and from private sector censors.
All right, Frank, are you coming down for spring break? Go.
Oh, I wish I could. Those of us in New York are looking at Florida with lusty eyes. The sunshine, businesses that are open, government that is actually rational. There is such a difference between states like New York and California and states like Florida and Texas. The problem, though, is that when we see things like the almost $2 trillion COVID relief bill, the wrongdoings and the idiocy of government in states like New York and California will be rewarded at the expense of states like Florida and Texas by a government that distributes money from states that are doing the right thing to states that are doing the wrong thing.
All right, Ben, we live down here year round and we see spring breakers come on down, and there's going to be a fair share coming down, aren't there?
There's a lot of people in this country who want to come to Florida and enjoy a taste of freedom. A long overdue taste of freedom.
Yes.
And everyone who comes here has the same reaction, how great it feels to walk into a free country, a free state, where you can conduct business, you can walk into a restaurant, you can enjoy life, wear your mask if you want to wear it. But gee, if you don't wear it, you're not going to be prosecuted by the government for doing so. And that's the way it is in Florida right now. It's very refreshing. A quick shout out to everyone who's listening and wants to find us on YouTube. We're under WBV Inside the News on YouTube. We've gotten some inquiries from people trying to find us. If you're ex-military, that's Whiskey Bravo Victor Inside the News. If you're not, it's Wehman Brunson Vernuccio Inside the News, but it's under WBV Inside the News.
Little plug there from Ben. Very, very good. Okay, hot button topics. Frank, go.
The China Task Force, which is a multi-agency group comprised of federal agencies, took a look at China's threat towards the rest of the world. It found that China is indeed a dire threat, both militarily and financially, as well as culturally. The China model, which is authoritarian, dictatorial, evil, if I may use that word, is ever present. At the same time that's being acknowledged by both Democrats and Republicans on that task force, we're hearing significant rumors that the Biden administration is ready to slash spending on our defense. It's a suicidal idea, and one that gets worse the more you look at it.
Boy, I don't like that idea at all. Okay, Ben, your thought.
Sometimes you're handed a softball and you have to hit it out of the park. The World Economic Forum, the international cabal of elitists, political and corporate elitists who live in their own bubble and jet around the world so that they can look down on the average person and call on people to stop destroying the climate, ran a video in which they praised how great it was that COVID locked down cities and how much it improved cities around the world to be shut down and to be quiet. Unbelievable. Talking about being completely out of touch with any figment of reality. That only lasted a couple days before they were forced to pull it off their website. But sometimes there are revealing moments, Freudian moments, and that is right up at the top of the list of really revealing how sick and demented some groups are. And that is the World Economic Forum, unfortunately.
Yes, it is. Okay. Hey, Frank, thank you so much. Good job today.
Great being with you. Look forward to next week.
And Ben, thank you.
Thank you, Guy, and Frank. Thank you to our listeners.
Absolutely. That was Ben Brunson. He's the author of the Falstaff, Enigma, and Esther, Sling. You can find his books at benbrunson.com, amazon.com. And then we also have Frank Vernuccio. He's with the American Analysis of News and Media. You can find Frank at usagovpolicy.com. He's also with the Minute Report for America. We want to thank each and every one of you for listening, and go check us out on YouTube, as Ben mentioned, and then click the subscribe button and click the like button. Thanks so much for being a part of the program. We'll be back again with you next week when we once again go inside the news.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.